So we just have like 20 seconds and then it will be live.
Okay.
Hello, friends. We are already live right now, and I have with me Daryl D'Souza, Sai, and Shanu. Welcome, and we want to, hear from them directly now. Some of the question answers. I'll be sorry, it got mixed up my own sound. So now it's live, and I was having some conversations about health with these three stalwarts in uh, plant-based diet and lifestyle. Let's start with Beryl. Where are the changes required at the mindset level for people?
I think that people are looking at information from across the globe, and the people who are so much in the media and in the teaching space and giving out the gyan and the knowledge is coming from the West primarily. So from there, even Indians are getting, even though we have had so many centuries of being on a vegetarian diet, we are hearing so much more about different diets, paleo diet and keto diet and all other kinds of diets. Some of them which are just, trying to switch people to meat because, of course, meat is, of course, it's acidic and it creates, heart disease and all of that. But it does help. It's not fatty. I'm not saying it helps, but it's not fatty, so you won't put on weight. So instead of eating a lot of milk products and uh, sugar and too much of complex carbohydrates, when people go on meat, they have a weight loss and they think, oh, meat is a wonderful thing. So all these experiments are going on there, and uh, so but there is a deeper science and truth to it, which only comes through experience. And there are, so I say, with those diets you can see short term results, but long term, the science of long term health, which was defined and established in India 4,000 years back, called Ayurveda. So Ayurveda means the science of long life, and you can have long life if you have healthy life. So that's how we were primarily, in India, vegetarian, and had a lot of good benefits from that. So I think that's what people are looking at right now. People want short-term results, and they see all of this marketing of various things. They are trying out things, but I'm very confident. Within a year's time itself, anybody who is more of an analytical person and trying to see what they eat and how it affects them, even if they go off track on some of these fad diets, I think within 8 to 9 months itself, they will come to see that a plant-based diet is more, it makes you lighter, it makes you more creative, it gives you higher energy. There's a little more, there's more peace and calm because your digestive system is not so loaded uh, as compared to, other meat diets or fish diet or eggs and all of that. And now I think, yes, people are much more concerned in the world right now about health, and there is good enough information also um, about therapies like Gerson therapies or raw food diet, or only fruit fasting or juice fasting, and that's also helping people understand and move more to a vegetarian diet. And I think finally it is. amongst all this information overload and different options, what is really working is the testimonies of those people who were sick and they reversed their high BP, cholesterol, diabetes, and hormonal imbalance and all of that within just 3 to 4 or 5, 6 months. And I say, that is the real science. That is the here and now. Compared to, a lot of books or a lot of tests done in different countries, and who, according to certain standards, they have verified certain things. But I say, truth, it speaks right in front of you with the cases. That is the proof. So I'm seeing that people are now opening up to that reality, and that is taking the lead, and I'm happy about it. So I encourage more of the people who have reversed illnesses through a plant-based life, diet, that they should come forward, they should give their testimonies, and that's the real evidence in the world today.
Yeah, I totally agree. Shanu, you want to add to that about changing the mindset and you know where the blocks are, where people stop.
Yeah. So I think Daryl covered a lot, and I would say that it's the culture of a particular society, and of course the businesses which evolved exploiting that culture, and then the science which was invented or sponsored by those businesses to actually support their businesses. So all the wrong theories coming like calcium, from dairy and protein from meat, etc. So this entire culture, this science and business, all these three actually are kind of a racket in my view, and that is actually dumbed down humanity or brainwashed humanity, and more so in last 100 years or so. And you see a disaster in health, natural health. So people have to understand that the culture is there to protect you, or the science is there to protect you. There is good science, there is not so good science. We have to understand that science is sponsored by businesses. It does not happen on its own. And when somebody is paying for it, of course, it would that entity would want to try profit out of that research. So a dairy industry supports research like the milk is good for this, right? And again, the meat industry supports that meat is good for this, right? So we have to see what is nature telling us. Nature created our bodies. No science, our body was not created in a lab or through a research, right? Till now, nobody has been able to actually produce a good human in a lab, right? So I would say that we have to, the mental blocks are more in culture, and more so in India, it's all about culture, right? People say, Krishna drank milk. I would say, who has seen Krishna live, right? Have you seen Krishna actually eating Domino pizzas with cheese or a Amul cheese or a Amul butter, right? No. I mean, those are stories. They were created by some great sages long back in India to people, to help people live a healthier life, bring in harmony in society, etc. But who actually has seen that he is the one who was drinking milk? That the milk is actually for cow baby. We are not cow. We are not calves. We were not born out of calves. It's a very simple logic that we are human. We need only humans milk. That too during our infancy, right? That milk is so different than in the comparison compared to human milk. So all these things, this dumbing down by cultures and science and businesses actually has taken a toll on human health. They have to get rid of it. That's the see as the major roadblock. Even the family members, when I start healing people, get them to detox on natural food diet, and then they start losing weight for the right reasons. The family starts getting concerned. Oh, my husband or wife is losing a lot of weight and this and that. So this happens during detox because your fat tissues are full of toxins. That fat needs to go out first before you gain healthy weight on natural diet or healthy foods. So this is all mind block, and I think so. That's, I would say, primary culture and science, and then secondary is your own addictions and taste. And of course you are full of parasites. You have been eating foods like meats and dairy and eggs. They actually, you are feeding your parasites inside your body. So addictions basically are, again, it's your parasitic consciousness and toxic body. So there is a time it takes for somebody to detox and come out of that parasitic consciousness. And once you've done that initially, you will be fine, and you will be more receptive to all the other natural ways. So education and spreading awareness is very, very important. I think this is a really right forum, and more such forums should come in India, and people are waking up. Veganism is a great movement, but I would say that we should spread this awareness of eating more of natural vegan and being more of living in a natural lifestyle, and we should really spread this across. This should become mainstream. In fact, in a lot of Western countries, this is becoming a mainstream, and it's being included even in the school syllabus. I read somewhere recently. So this has to go mainstream, and more earlier we do, better is for everybody's health, environment, and animals. So I think it's a great movement.
Sahi?
Yeah. So regarding the mental blocks, what I have seen, like in this course of this pandemic and lockdown, is mainly people are driven by the fear. Okay, fear of what will happen if I fall sick, or what if I don't get that vaccine or some external intervention to cure myself. But I think now the time has come, and all of us are understanding that we don't have to look outside for any solution. If we can just give time to look inside and understand our own body, then body is intelligent enough to lead us to the correct and right choices, even when it comes to food, because we ourselves can experiment. So I always tell everyone that give yourself 21 days or 7 days and try this change, and then you experience it yourself. How are you feeling inside the body? Are you feeling light? Are you feeling strong and energetic? And most of the times, if you go to this change with open mindset and without having this fear, then most of the people or all of us can really enjoy what real health is all about. So I think we have to change our mindset from depending on someone else to tell me, or some other TV channels or newspapers or research papers to tell us that this is what you should eat for vitamin K, vitamin E, vitamin A. I mean, there are so many different ways to, sell different superfoods and different things outside. But I feel we really can be independent if we can just focus inwards and start listening to our body and have this confidence that my body is intelligent enough if I give right environment, being more with nature, and consuming more natural food which is not processed. So I think that one step is needed to change the mindset and to change the experience of taking control of your own health, and understanding that nobody is there to really give you some magic potion or magic vaccine to cure you from your diseases. It is just whatever symptoms we are experiencing or whatever disease, it is just because we have gone away from the natural lifestyle and natural way of living. So the simple solution can be just start going back towards nature at all possible levels: food, movement, lifestyle, everything.
So, Nandini, we were just asking about where is the mental block, or how do we change the mindset so that we move forward. Because until now, when people thought the health was outsourced to the medical fraternity, what I see that each of you have a very strong personal story of your own, you know towards striving towards the health, and that is why you have walked the path, and you are able to tell more people that this is the way forward where the change is required.
So basically, I think what is at the crux of it is that we are living very unnatural lives, extremely conditioned. The world at some stage started believing that the pursuit of money, and they changed the definition of success, and everybody just started following, and they stopped using their own mind, and they stopped connecting with their own heart, and everybody just started following the pursuit of money, the pursuit of acquisitions, bigger homes, more possessions, more technology around them, I don't know, whatever that we get lost in. And somewhere, I think all of humanity bought into this concept of unnatural living, which is currently, the whole system that we follow is capitalism. And the whole fundamental of our existence is based on this system of living called capitalism, which is all about having more in your bank account. You're only successful if you have X amount of money, you're driving X kind of car, you live in this kind of locality, and your house is this big. And this is completely blinding us to what is good for us, what the way that we were designed to live as human beings, as organic beings, as living beings. We are not some sort of robots who just follow what other people say. There is a certain, design in nature of how we are supposed to live, just like birds are supposed to live a certain way, and carnivores are supposed to live a certain way, and reptiles are supposed to live a certain way. Human beings are supposed to live a certain way. And because of the whole infrastructure that we've built, and the cities that we live in, and all these cement houses that we live in, and so on, we are just so disconnected from our real nature. So I think what really is needed is coming back to who we really are and how we are supposed to live. And this is not possible unless we learn to commune with nature. When you look at a tree, when you look at the life of a bird or a butterfly, then we start understanding what life is about. And right now, what we are doing is we have declared a war on nature, and we are constantly fighting it. And the medical system does the same for all its good. I don't deny that. But the whole purview, whether you look at the medical system or even if you look at agriculture, it's just a war on nature. What pest can we kill? What chemical can we put into the soil to get more growth? We're just working against it. Instead, we need to study it, observe it, be humbled by it, and follow its footsteps. Listen to what it's trying to tell us. It's not against us, it's actually making us thrive. It's this war that is creating all the problems that we see, this mindset of we will win over this disease, and we will create a vaccination for that. And like, how many vaccinations will you create? There are tens of thousands of viruses. If not, actually there are more viruses on earth than there are stars in the sky. How many viruses will we develop vaccines for? How much longer are we going to continue living like this, and ignore the signs that nature is sending us? So I actually think that we will not be saved unless we learn to respect nature, learn to follow the laws of nature, and start bringing more nature into us. And how do we do that? We connect with the heart. That is the seat of all knowledge, actually. And the spiritual teachers have been telling us forever. And that, I feel, is where the disconnect is. It's a very fundamental level. We can speak about all the surface stuff. We can say we are not sleeping on time, and we are not eating the right food, and we are addicted to junk. But at the very heart of it, we bought into a mistaken idea of what it means to be human. And we need to get back in touch with what it means to really be human.
Wow, what words of wisdom. It is really time of awakening for all of us. Absolutely. There is no other way out. I fully agree. We are into an age where we trade our health for some wealth or some dream, that is not happening. And it's chasing, some goals which are also, very much into the dream world somewhere. So back to the now today, what is the way forward? How do we start our journey towards becoming healthy, one step at a time? Daryl, some steps, some concrete steps you tell everyone.
Yes, surely. So I will just touch upon a point that Nandini mentioned. Okay, about the responsibility of our health. So I have written this in the preface of my book for the basis of writing and working on this. And what I say is we have at one point of time during the industrial revolution, as populations grew and all that, and we were given the impression that time that certain things can be taken care of by certain organizations and set up. So actually at that time we outsourced our health to what was called the medicine or the the wellness big companies that were forming at that time. And well, they were managing our health, and finally the resultant is now that we have this medicine system, the allopathic pills that people are popping all the time. And people see no logic that they have to pop the pills for the rest of their life, and I call them the crutches. People are living life on crutches, and the common man is not understanding that, and he's forgotten something because this marketing of all this is so heavy. So I say we're literally on a fake medicine system, because you can't call it medicine. Medicine is something that heals you, and the nobody would have believed it. But over the last 10 years, I think there must be at least 100,000 people across, or maybe 100 million also across the globe. I think there are practitioners and teachers, but I think there are at least 100 million people across the globe who have been on allopathic medicines for whatever, high BP, cholesterol, diabetes, and all of that. And through natural therapies and diet and yoga and meditation and exercise, they have been able to get rid of their medicine. So this is what the common person's mindset needs to understand, that when you have somebody on a diabetic medication for 6 7 years and they change their diet and do something, then within 6 months, and then for the rest of their life they are non-diabetic anymore, it should first make that marker. Those medicines were not required in the first place, they were falsely used. So this is the first step for people to understand, that try and follow the footsteps, read the books, follow the footsteps, especially of these people who could get off these medications. Today, the biggest threat in the world with this coronavirus is comorbid people. That means a person who has another morbidity. That means they are suffering from other sickness. So I think right now is the most important time where everybody who's on any allopathic medicine should start reading books, doing workshops, getting advice, and working, getting advice and doing the workshops or classes, online classes now, of those people who have reversed these illnesses with integrative, what I call integrative natural therapy, of which diet and nutrition is an important part. I mean, for me, that's the main part of it. So that's the first step that people should be doing. And of course, as Nandini mentioned, going more towards a natural life and looking at natural sciences. Now, another thing I just wanted to say is about this mindset. So uh, now it is being known that when people talk a lot about the traditions, India has good traditions, and we eat our traditional foods. That's what people are stuck on. But at the same time, they have to realize India is the diabetic capital of the world. And from the evidence that I am seeing, I don't know if it's come out in journals or not, but I can at least say we are also the leader in cataract replacement, cataract surgeries and knee replacement surgeries also. And all of these, when people are changing their diets, they are reversing these, health issues. So that's a big warning for people. Even though we were vegetarian, mostly vegetarian in India, even a vegetarian can suffer from acidity with too much of grains, and too much of people are eating these lentils and dals every day and lesser of fresh vegetables and fruits. So that is what people need to realize, that the information is there out there with those people who have reversed these illnesses. And so it's instead of reading some very old books that may be outdated, look for current evidence. That's the second step of the solution. And finally, yes, this last point I want to make is opinions versus understanding. Okay. So even if we talk of the topic of milk, and I advise somebody, milk is causing so many different illnesses, then they're just looking at me and they say, I've heard four doctors, and four doctors are saying that milk is good for calcium and all that. So people are, it's like that's the weighing scale. So if my one opinion is gone up over here and the heavier four opinions are gone down, so people should understand that, that instead of opinions, they should go for understanding, right? So just don't count on how many people are doing this. You see that person who's giving you the opinion, see how they've applied it and what results they have got in their life. That's the evidence-based, analysis that people need to do. So I think if people, take these pointers, they are going in the right direction. And finally, I would say, learn from people who have done it.
Shanu?
Yeah, I would say that the the next step, or the people, what they should look at is, as Daryl also talked about, how other people have actually healed themselves, and we are all have actually done that journey, and they should look at the root cause. What is the root cause? The root cause is, if the disease is happening in the body, you should look at what you are putting in the body and what you are making things touch the body, right? So I would give it this analogy, though the car fuels are not good for environment, but I would give this analogy that if you have a car running on petrol, but instead of petrol, if you put diesel, which is unnatural food, and then try to treat it with kerosene, which is the allopathic medicines, I would say, or any other chemical stuff. So what you're putting inside the body is or in the car is diesel and the kerosene instead of petrol, which is the natural food, I would say, for the human body. So you expect uh, a body to run efficiently without any issues, while you are putting the wrong fuels in it, and then again causing more issues by putting more chemicals with the isolated chemistry there, right? So that is the root cause, and people have to, you know, get rid of their conditioning. And Nandini talked about, it's all conditioning. See, because there is a lot of money in the capitalistic world today, there is a lot of money in selling the unnatural foods, and of course selling the treatment based modality kind of unnatural treatments, that if there's somebody has a pain, give him the painkiller, and not considering that what the painkiller in the next few years is going to do, right? So let's understand what is the root cause. The root cause is the acidity and toxicity. Now the varying levels of these two will actually cause various diseases in the human body at various point of time, right? And the good part is that all the healing power is in the organism itself, right? So when it has accumulated a lot of toxicity and acidity by way of your unnatural living and eating, then when, especially when the season changes, or every few months, it detoxes itself. That's its natural process. So you get fever, you get cold and cough. That is get mucus coming out. That is cleansing happening. Even if you had diarrhea or vomiting or fever, actually body raises temperature to kill the harmful parasites which are thriving on your undigested food inside. So, and then people go and take antibiotics and all of that stuff and suppressing this symptom. So that should actually not be done at all, because you should allow the body to detox itself. It's doing it naturally for surviving. But what is happening is people are suppressing these detox symptoms, and by taking some chemicals, poisonous chemicals, I would say the allopathic chemicals and the antibiotics are the hardest to detox. It takes 10 to 40 years for the antibiotics, sulfur antibiotics stuff to go out of your body if you are detox process, right? So body was already toxic and acidic, and you are creating more toxicity by creating all this, putting all these chemicals. So you have to stop all of that, right? Uh, the fasting and detoxification and coming on a natural diet is the right way of giving body a pause from the unnatural lifestyle, and then let it heal itself. The body is the healer. I would want to assure everybody the body has all the healing capacity. We only have to facilitate. Only have to give it right diet and right environment. It will come back to normal. So that is what we have to understand. And I had 10 years of diabetes. I switched to whole food plant-based, more of organic, and then more of raw. I am 19 to 95% raw, mostly fruits. That's our main carb. People say, where do we get proteins from? Where do we get carbohydrates from? Where do we get all this from? I'm saying which animals in the nature thinks that way. This is all conditioning done by the nutrition science, modern nutrition science, right? Protein, everybody is talking about. I saw a question in the chat as well. We don't need really proteins, okay? We don't need any proteins. 95% of the protein is recycled by the body itself. It is unused. We need amino acids. That's a simple structure of the amino proteins which body can really absorb, right? And there are plenty of amino acids on the leafy greens and fruits and vegetables, and if you still wanted some more, there are some seeds and nuts you can have in moderation. You get everything from this 5 variety of foods: fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, and some leafy greens, and maybe some sea vegetables, right? And that's natural food, right? If you eat that, you're not going to be needing anything toxic or chemical in the nature. Body will not need to detox. Now all these viruses, H1N1, dengue, chikungunya, now COVID-19, now there'll be 21, 23, 25, all they keep selling these diseases to people, and then there'll be 100 types of vaccines. This is all capitalism. Some lot of people have a special interest in keep giving you fear and then selling vaccines. All nonsense in my view. Body detoxes itself every season, right? They're talking about second wave, third wave, fourth wave. Every season people get flu. They have flu shots for many years now. Has flu vaccine corrected it? No. That is just a natural detox. Just lie on the bed couple of days, take a rest from your day-to-day mundane your job, and do some fasting, resting, eat some fruits and juices. You'll be fine 2-3 days, right? And that's it. There is no virus. The virus is in the mind. The fear created is in the mind. It's all marketed badly to all mainstream media channels. They all have vested interest to make money. So I would say connect back to nature, eat natural diet, and that's where the all the solutions lie. Eliminate the root causes. Don't look for treatment-based modality. Thank you.
Sai, steps.
Yes. So steps is, I think I will just add just one step, which I find many people find it difficult to implement. Like many of us know the awareness is there, but to take that first step and go against the tradition is what is stopping many people. So we have this concept of prayers versus shreyas. So prayers is something which is, quick result and gives you pleasure. And Shreyas is something which gives you long-term happiness. So I think the time has come to choose Shreyas if you really want to have good health. So all these experts, whatever they have shared, we have to take that first step, go against the tradition, take that extra effort, and go for the long-term happiness than for the short-term pleasure. So that's what.
Very good. Shreyas. We'll choose the Shreyas.
Yes.
Nandini, unmute.
Okay, so I think at the root of most of our problems, including health problems, is fear. If COVID showed us one thing, it was how much fear can be generated. I mean, I'm sure all of you remember all those WhatsApp messages that we got, and all of us were gripped by fear, including me. And one of the things that surfaced during that time for me personally, because I intensified my inner work, was fear of death. So what I realized is that the root cause of most of the reason that we buy into all these treatments and things that people are selling, vaccinations, people are queuing up for it, is because of that fear. And at the root cause of all fear is fear of death, fear of our death and fear of the death of our loved ones and so on. So I think for this reason, spiritual practices are extremely important because they teach us how to balance this. A spiritual practice doesn't need to be that you're following some spiritual master. You could be. It could simply be looking at a tree. You can make the tree your spiritual master. I mean, the Buddha always meditated under a tree, and there are so many stories around that. So it could just be nature as your inspiration. But if we can, through some internal work, maybe with the help of someone who's qualified in helping us, if we can start to lose the fear that we have for our existence and start trusting nature and our bodies. Like Shanu said, that the body is the greatest healer. Body is made by nature, by God, by whatever name you call her. I call God her. So we have to trust that it's brought us here. It knows how to look after us. All the animals on the planet trust nature and live by its rules. So if we can get rid of this fear-based mentality, we can come over this hypnosis that we are all under of how we should live our life. This hypnosis is this conditioning. So about a year ago, I go for a walk in my society, and then I sit on this park bench and I just like watch the grass grow, like Osho says. So I was doing that, and I realized in that moment, it was just, you have these moments of clarity and some messages come through. We all have that. And I realized that I have never, ever had an original thought. All my thinking is conditioned thinking, something that my parents told me, or my teachers told me, or my society told me, or my grandparents told me, or my boss told me how I'm supposed to be, how I'm supposed to live. And it was very shocking realization for me that I've never had an original thought. And then I started analyzing whenever I was thinking, is this an original thought, or is this something, some garbage that I have taken for real that has been put into me? One, it has been put into me, plus I've made more of a mess of it because of my own fears and insecurities. So if we can, start to just clear our thinking, and that can happen very, very naturally in communion with nature. We've all experienced it, looking at an amazing sunset, how much clarity and beauty we experience in that moment. Or, playing with a child who's gurgling and smiling, how much connection there is. Or with an animal, how innocent they are and how spontaneous and free they are. If we can just get to that, we can actually cut through all this bullshit, because if we keep believing in fear, then we will always fall for some therapy or the other, even if it's alternative therapies. We'll get confused. Somebody will say, take this, take this supplement, and somebody will say, no, put a wet pack, and somebody will say, no, do this Ayurvedic treatment. These are all good, but we get confused and we cannot, make up our mind, because at the basic level we are confused because we are believing in all this conditioned thinking. So I would really encourage people to go on their own quest, preferably in communion with nature, and realize what the truth is for themselves, the truth of their health, the truth of their being. And if they can, to start doing some practices and shed the fear. The universe is a benign place, and the universe is a benign energy, and it has its anything that happens to us and everything that happens to us is for the good. If we can believe in this, then we'll stop falling for all that conditioned BS that we tend to adopt, and that makes us even more fearful and makes us fall for all these things.
Totally awesome. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Absolutely. This is the way forward. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate so much of the time that you've given today so that people can listen and get the message. We are at the turning point in the history, and we have to gather our strength and move together. Thank you very much for every word of wisdom today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Rupa.
you, Dr. Rupa.
Thank you, everyone.